Join me now is former Deputy Patrol Agent in Charge, our very own J.J. Carrell. You can watch him each and every night right here at worldviewtube.com, 5 p.m. Central, 6 Eastern Standard. Well, he, like so many, Michael Yon, who is my guest today on Brannon Howse Radio, Worldview Radio, that's at 1 o'clock Central. Michael Yon, Todd Bensman, J.J. Carrell, goes on and on. Many of them were warning. This was going to happen, and here we are. America, this may be the beginning of a multi-year internal war. That's what Michael Yon talked about today on, again, my radio show, which is also a TV show, 1 p.m. Central, 2 Eastern each and every day, Monday through Friday. What does J.J. Carrell think? Where does he think it's all headed? Don't forget, we got this map. This map, let's see, where'd it go? Where's the map? Have you guys seen the map? Yeah, you've seen the map. We played it last night. We showed it last night. This is where it's all going to be happening, apparently on Saturday, June 14th, Flag Day. What does J.J. Carrell think of all this? He joins us now. J.J., welcome back to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us.
Always good to be with you, Brannon. Yeah, I think it might be a year long, even longer. We talked about this. I wrote about it in my books. I talk about it on my show. When you allow in 30 million, 50 million total illegal aliens into our population, then you do nothing. You just keep emboldening them, giving them money, giving them resources, and then all of a sudden you say, get out. They're not going to get out. And I think this is even bigger than just illegal aliens. I think they're the pawns in this big scheme. This is a war now. We're in a war for America. And you better buckle up. Let's say that map that you saw, that you showed, yeah, I've seen that map. What if 10%, just 10%, of those dots actually start burning? Then America's going to burn to the ground. Just 10%. That's amazing. Look at what the anti-American left has done to our country.
You know what's interesting is Usama Dakdok has said that all it would take is a couple gallons of gasoline with a bunch of these Islamists spread all over the country, and look out. And many of us are wondering if that's what happened with the California fires. You know, Pat Boone even put out a video. What if someone just took some material, soaked it in kerosene, and then threw it up in the air, let the winds carry it? They lit it on fire. We do know that, was it Al-Qaeda? Al-Qaeda had a magazine out several years ago called Inspire, where they talked about using fire as a form of terrorism. So when you talk about setting things on fire, I mean, it could be everything from the anarchist to the communist to the Islamist. And we are seeing in California, JJ, the Islamic flags, the keffiyehs, the Mexican flag. We're seeing all of this. And now we got this disgusting president of Mexico. What a disgusting individual. You know, saying that these people, do we have that clip, Logan, where the president of Mexico, Sheinbaum, is that her name?
Yeah, Gloria Sheinbaum.
I had it in my Worldview report tonight. Quote, Mexicans living in the United States are good men and women, honest people who went to the United States to seek a better life. Well, why do they have to come to America to seek a better life, Claudia? Because your country is disgusting. I've never been to your country. I would never go to your country. Because when people go to your country, a lot of times they end up dead, raped, right? Dead, raped. And if, God forbid, somebody gets all caught up in the roads in between America and Mexico, it goes in there by mistake and has guns, like I think a military guy did a couple years ago, you guys throw him in the gulag. We got to try to beg you to give our guy back. But you guys just flood our country with all kinds of people. No, the people leave your country, Claudia, because it's a disgusting country, because it's run by people like you. You're disgusting, Claudia. You're disgusting. And the drug cartels run your country. Don't you think that's what's running Mexico? I mean, I think she tries to act like she's somehow separate. Don't you think she's afraid of the drug cartels at the very least? But do you not agree? Mexico is a disgusting country. I feel sorry for a lot of the Mexicans down there. They're victims to a corrupt government, but their government is run largely by drug cartels. It's a narco state. Am I right or am I wrong?
No, you're right. It is a narco state. The narcos run everything. absolutely everything. They chop people's heads off.
Yes.
They soup them up, literally melt their bodies into a stew. It's a third world cesspool.
And I want to throw out a disclaimer. I am not talking about the poor Mexicans that are victims of this. I'm talking about their leadership. Because sometimes you have brave people that will rise to the top to be mayor. And what did we see? A guy's head chopped off and put on his white SUV a few months ago.
Yeah.
And what's the government doing about it? What are they doing about it?
Nothing. But then let's look north. What is our government doing about it? What is our government doing about 50 million people that are here illegally? And let's go down even further, Brandon. What in the was our leaders in ICE and DHS and Border Patrol doing, sending 50 to 100 ICE agents down into the belly of the beast of Los Angeles with no backup? Who thought of that operational law enforcement plan needs to be fired immediately? This is unbelievable.
Which I guess begs the question, was that a deep state setup? Was that a deep state setup to get this whole thing going?
You know what? It could be, but I'm going to tell you from a personal experience that the people that are running these agencies are incompetent. I worked with some of them. Do you know some of the people in the Border Patrol and Border Patrol agents are down there? Do you know some of the Border Patrol, the leadership in D.C. have never arrested anybody in their whole life? Never arrested anybody. They have no idea what they're doing. And how do I know that? Because just on Friday, you had 25 ICE agents and police officers with their backs against the wall, literally their backs against the wall of a building, as the people like this idiot was throwing rocks at their vehicles. Why did any of these vehicles stop and then pull that guy and grab him and throw his sorry in the back of the car and send him to jail? I know he's arrested now, but why did anyone not stop? I don't understand. Those are Border Patrol vehicles or driven by Border Patrol agents. I do not understand how they're not doing their job. I don't. And I'm talking from a guy that
here's what I'd like to know. When they saw that was happening, why did they just run over him? Why did one of those cars swerve and literally run over him and take out the threat? Because true or false, was he using deadly force?
Yes, because if he smashes a window, what are you going to do? You're going to jerk the wheel, or that rock goes through the windshield and hits you. Look.
So tell me why one of those guys didn't take the car and just take him out to protect the next car coming, because the guy was using deadly force. Why have we become a nation of wimps? Don't you think that video footage of him being taken out and say, you know what, when you use deadly force against us, we have the right to eliminate the deadly force to protect the individual who's in that truck who is about to get smashed and the person coming behind him. And you do this, we're going to run over you. And if you don't survive, tough. But we have coddled these people. I've never been a cop. So I'm just asking from a common sense standpoint, is that too over the top to say that one of those guys could have taken that government car and mowed him down and been justified legally in eliminating potential deadly force?
Yeah, if I'm driving that vehicle and I see him run out in the middle of the road and he's got a giant rock in his hand, he's trying to smash it into my vehicle. Yeah, I have the right. I can justifiably write that down on paper. I felt a threat for my life. How did I feel? Well, I've seen this happen where rocks get crushed through the windshield, hit agents in the head and blind them or kill them. And I'm driving the car. I can't be blinded or I can't be knocked out or I will cause more damage. So yes, but the bigger point is, since Ferguson, George Floyd, BLM, defund the police, and the impotent leadership that has risen to the top of our agencies, we no longer know what policy is, what our laws are, what the Constitution allows. We have become feminized. Our society is feminized. Our society of men are effeminate. The police forces are a reflection of society. We don't go get police officers and ICE and Border Patrol agents out on Mars and bring them down to Earth. No, these are our neighbors. These are our brothers and our fathers. But we have been feminized within our community. Why would you expect anything else within your police force? We're a reflection of society. Look at your screen. This is what we're allowing. We're allowing this. And I want to ask Donald Trump a question, and I'm the biggest Donald Trump fan ever. Sir, there's tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people rioting downtown LA, and you're going to send 700 Marines and 2,000 National Guard? Why aren't you sending 20,000 National Guard? Sending all the police, all the Border Patrol, and knock them all down. All of them go to rest. All of them go into vans and buses, and we transport them out of LA and into federal custody. This is insane. Why are we allowing this?
Well, you know what? You know what?
We are gutless.
Because we're gutless. You know what we started talking about a while ago was them lighting fires, right? We were asking, hey, did they do this in LA? Was this anarchist, communist, Islamist? Again, the inspired Logan, maybe you could look it up, show on the screen. Al-Qaeda had a magazine around 2013 called Inspire. It was calling for using fire as a weapon. And we were asking when the LA fires were going on, is that what they're doing? And then we had all the fires being set all over Israel. And our reporter on the ground in Israel and others were asking, I think this might be terrorism. They're lighting us up on fire all over the place. And you could see the fire starting like they were all over Los Angeles too, right? Well, we just brought that up a while ago. We said, what if these people nationwide start lighting up fires? There you go. What is that, Logan? Oh, that's the Inspire magazine. Yeah. I don't know if that's the publication, the particular one, but in one of them, they call for using fire as a form of terrorism. Now, I didn't know this till right now, but apparently fires were being lit in LA again last night. Look at this. Look at this.
What in the world?
I'm going to turn that off because I don't know if there's going to be swearing or what, but there you go.
I worked all these areas in the Border Patrol on my maritime unit where all the narcotic and human smuggling boats would wash ashore. I know these areas very well. Once that starts to fire, the whole city can go up. There's no water in the fire hydrants. There's no water in the reservoirs. And there's no water anywhere. There's no rain in Southern California. So all it takes is that to hit fire, hit that palm tree, and then that palm tree explodes, and those embers go everywhere. And then now we're on the whole city's on fire. Look at what we've allowed to happen in our country. Look at this. Look at the response. If there's one thing I want to ask is, how did the people in charge in law enforcement think that this outcome was not going to materialize? I don't understand. Are you that naive? Are you that incompetent? And where's the fire trucks? Where's the National Guard? Where is people going and being arrested? The last I heard, there was 40 or 50 people have been arrested. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This is why this is allowed to happen. And then the real question needs to be asked, Brannon, is what is Donald Trump going to do? Is he going to nationalize, federalize, and go after all these people?
Well, he's talking about the Insurrection Act, I guess, today. Insurrection Act.
Well, he has to. Well, okay, let's say that map comes up and 10% of that, what do you have, like 2,000 dots, just 10%? So let's just say 5%. Let's say 100 fires start raging in riots. Well, what are we going to do in a summer of love again? Allow everything to burn down? Or are we going to take control and take our country back? I think this is a pivotal moment in the history of America right now. And Donald Trump has a chance to grab a hold of her future and drive America the right way. I don't know if he'll do it.
Here is Tom Cotton today, U.S. Senator Tom Cotton from Arkansas. Listen to what he had to say about the power and authority of the president of the United States. Here we go.
Thank you. Before I get to matters of bipartisan concern on things like shipbuilding and munitions, I'm compelled to respond to the unhinged partisan rants by Senator Kaine and Senator Blumenthal about the riots in Los Angeles. I heard a lot of complaints about the use of the National Guard or the Marine Corps to defend federal property. Not surprisingly, a lot of attacks on Donald Trump. I don't think I heard condemnation of rioters and looters and arsonists and revolutionary anarchists that are burning down parts of Los Angeles. So let's put it in context. What's happening in Los Angeles? For 4 years under Joe Biden, we had a slow motion invasion of this country by millions of migrants, to include murderers, rapists, gang members, and other depraved savages. It wasn't just tolerated by Democrats in the Senate, it was celebrated. The American people spoke very clearly last year. They elected Donald Trump and a Republican Congress to secure the border, to enforce our immigration laws, and to deport violent, illegal aliens. That's exactly what our brave immigration authorities started doing on Friday. You have illegal aliens that were rounded up in Los Angeles that had committed heinous, violent crimes. Are we simply supposed to overlook them because they're in a Democratic city or a Democratic state? You can sexually assault children as an illegal alien, but if you're standing outside a Home Depot as a day laborer, immigration authorities are not supposed to arrest you and remove you from the streets to protect innocent civilians? And then what happened? Again, anarchists, revolutionaries, left-wing street militias started attacking law enforcement with bricks and cement and frozen water bottles, spitting in their faces, or much worse, setting cars on fire, looting buildings, setting buildings on fire. Under these conditions, of course, we should always want the local police to be the first line of authority, and they usually can restore order. In Los Angeles, they could not. How do we know? The Los Angeles Police Department chief told us that his forces were overwhelmed, even as he kept them on all after their shift. The next line of defense against such civil disorder is the National Guard. You would expect a responsible governor, when one of his city's police forces are overwhelmed, to call out the National Guard. But the incompetent and ideological governor of California refused to do so. So President Trump had to act. He has clear legal authority to federalize the Guard when necessary to protect innocent life and property, and especially federal officers and federal property. That's exactly what he did. Just like, for instance, in my state in 1957, when the racist Democratic governor tried to use the National Guard to prevent the desegregation of Little Rock Central High School. And President Eisenhower said, "I don't think so," and federalized the Guard to ensure the desegregation of Little Rock Central. And what did the governor of California do? Rather than recognize the error of his ways and cooperate and try to restore order in California, he began grandstanding.
All right. Now, I like Tom Cotton in a lot of ways. I don't want to see us go to war. He seems to be a guy who likes to push the idea of war sometimes. So I don't
all the time.
I don't want to go with him on that. But I have to agree with what he's saying right here. How about you?
Yes, I do. This was celebrated. It wasn't just celebrated by the Democrats. The Democrats did this intentionally and strategically to flood our nation with 30 million people. They're traitors. They committed treason against America. And this needs to be stopped. And Donald Trump needs to get control of this. Donald Trump is at a constitutional crisis. He has got to take the reins of the Constitution and exert his executive powers, damn the judicial branch, and just move forward, because the judicial branch is compromised. And the precedent that's been set in our country by Lincoln, by Jackson, and on have already done what needs to be done. Donald Trump needs to step up and make this happen. Look, this is bigger than just illegal aliens waving flags, Mexican flags in LA. This is coordinated. This is funded. And I want your audience to know, too, that your money, your tax dollars are funding the NGOs that are providing the bricks and the cinder blocks. It's already been proven. I love this one website, one X poster, what is it, Data Republican?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She's incredible. She just did a deep dive last night and showed that one NGO received $24 million last year from the federal government, and they are the main organizers of this LA riots. It's unbelievable. How are they delivering pallets of bricks onto the streets of LA and nobody has any pictures or videos of the vehicle that did it and the people that did it? Do you know how hard it is to physically move pallets of bricks? You have to have an 18-wheel worth of flatbed. You have to have a forklift to move it off. So, I mean, it's coordinated. It's not going to be just like drive by and throw litter out your car. They're laying pallets of bricks across the streets of LA, and nobody says a damn thing. No one has any pictures. No one has any investigative skills. It's unbelievable. This is a failure.
Here's
a failure.
Look what she shows. Art Build, Saturday, June 7th. And look what she shows. It's sponsored by Party for Socialism and Liberation.
Mm-hmm. Well, they share the American values that we all share. And this scumbag billionaire right there, what's his first name? Neville, I believe. Yeah. Unbelievable. Neville Singham, a Chinese Communist Party sympathizer, billionaire. Yep.
He lives in Shanghai?
We have billionaires funding these NGOs. However, I want the audience to understand the NGOs are being heavily, and the majority of their money is coming from the federal government, the United States federal government through USAID.
By the way, look at this. Look at this. Graham and Rubio wrote to the U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland, quote, many of these groups have increased their activism in the wake of Hamas's October 7, 2023 brutal terrorist attack on Israel. The groups have not only disrupted Senate proceedings, but have engaged in violent anti-Semitic riots in many cities across the United States, end quote. The senators continued, quote, these reports suggest that Mr. Singham has expanded his network to include not only far-left pro-CCP entities, but also radical anti-Semitic entities. One such organization is Shut It Down for Palestine, an entity established in October of 2023. According to the network, Contagion Research Institute, conveners or organizers operating under the SID4P umbrella are members of Singham's donor portfolio. These organizations include the People's Forum, Answer Coalition, International People's Assembly, Al-Wada, New York, National Students for Justice in Palestine, Palestinian Youth Movement, and Palestinian American Community Center, New Jersey. Some of these groups have ties to the U.S. designated foreign terrorist organizations such as Popular Front of the Liberation of Palestine. Moreover, one of SID4P's endorsers, I never heard of that, is also an entity known as Samidon, which according to some open sources reporting is a front for the People's Front Liberation of Palestine. Okay. Well, this is very consistent with Trevor Loudon last night, also telling us we have funding, we have a Maoist-aligned worldview group, Freedom Road Socialist Organization. So now you've got your merging of that red-green axis we've been telling you about. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with J.J. Carrell, his website. This is treason.com. This is treason.com. Remember, we're able to push all this out to you free of charge, where it could be behind a paywall, but nope, going up free of charge. You can help make it possible. Worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com. We'll be right back.
I'll tell you one little quick story. We had a Worldview Weekend client who lived in California, lost their house, very wealthy guy. He didn't use Bitcoin. He came over here, drove to Arizona with $286,000 worth of his gold because he had no money and no house available. His bank was shut down because he couldn't have access to his bank account.
Was this during the fire? Was this during the fires?
During the fire. Didn't have his driver's license. He lost it. The state wouldn't give him a new license because he had no active mailing address. Real mess. So he came to Arizona to buy a house. He's moving everything over. He said, the only thing I got in my possession that I can get liquid with right now is my gold. I gave him a check for $286,000, and guess what? I didn't need his social, his driver's license. Sort of smiled, and I said, you know, I know you and Brannon talked about how this worked, but boy, this is great. I feel good. I got my money. Nobody bothered me, and I'm protected, and it's private.
Just simply go to worldviewgold.com, fill out the form, worldviewgold.com. We're not changing courses now. We are who we are. We're committed to the truth that we are committed to. Worldview Tube is a broadcast network that I started in 2006, but it's based on my 35 years as an author and speaker and commentator. Worldview Tube is here to defend the truth of a Christian worldview. And we believe we can apply it to all areas of life, like law, science, economics, history, family, social issues, education, religion, major issues.
At worldviewtube.com, we provide news from around the globe that isn't typically covered by mainstream media. Visit worldviewtube.com to watch our experts and analysts discuss all your favorite topics on our 24/7 live stream. Explore our extensive collection of unfiltered and uncensored content from 35 years of production. Go to worldviewtube.com today. Also find us on all of these major platforms and download our WorldviewTube mobile app.
And welcome back. Glad you're with us. Kash Patel is, well, he's talking about a record seize, apparently, I guess enough drugs to kill 50 million Americans, he says, has been seized. Well, that's good, but it's just a start. FBI Director Kash Patel hails record drug bust. Drug seized could have killed nearly 50 million. There you go. Take a look at this. Representative Anna Paulina Luna, thanks to investigative work of Data Republican House Oversight, will issue a formal document request to Neville Singham regarding his funding of a communist group linked to the LA riots and the CCP. If he refuses to appear, he will be subpoenaed, and if he ignores that, he will be referred to the DOJ for prosecution. So again, this is, as Trevor Loudon was saying last night, we have enemies foreign and domestic helping fund this. Now the question is, how far will it go? I had on Michael Yon today, and we talked about this being a multi-year war inside the U.S. I asked him, is this a group trying to spark civil war in America, or is this part of World War III playing out in America? Is it civil war or part of World War III, or is it part of both? Is the chaos to create a division in the country, a civil war or civil disruptions, part of the strategy of our enemies for World War III? I think it is a mixture. I think social unrest, whether they're trying to pit a civil war, whatever you want to call it, pitting Americans against Americans, creating chaos, burning down cities, I think it's part of the World War III strategy. We've talked here a long time, for many years, about gray terror. Gray terror is where largely communist groups will go into a country and start attacking critical infrastructure before they go to war. How many of our food processing plants have been destroyed over the last few years? How many trains have been derailed? How many times have we seen cell towers in huge swaths of the country go down? Is all of this part of gray terror? Is this part of gray terror? And the timing of it is quite interesting because we had 8 years of Obama, 4 years of Biden, and all of this, of course, was preparing the battlefield. I don't know who's here, but I will say this. If you go to worldviewreport.com, our daily aggregated news site, look at this. Worldviewreport.com, your daily aggregated news site where I put up new articles all the time. Here's an article. Why are cops quitting? And what to do about it? I mentioned this on radio today. This guy says veteran law enforcement officer Michael Letts is sounding the alarm on a national crisis. America's police officers are leaving the profession in record numbers, and those who remain are more vulnerable and less supported than ever. With over 32 years of experience in local, state, and federal law enforcement, Letts has witnessed firsthand the decline in morale and resources across police departments nationwide. When President Biden took office, there were approximately 1.4 million sworn-in officers in the U.S. Today, that number has plummeted to 700,000. Well, if I do my math right, 1.4 million divided in half is 700,000. So we've lost half our police. Well, I'll tell you right now, we already know that experts are telling us that if police departments cannot get these problems under control, they're going to spread. And how much can our military do? Now think about this. If you're going to invade Taiwan or put a blockade up around Taiwan, why would you not go ahead and create so much chaos in America, whose police numbers are now half of what they were 4.5 years ago? The police can't handle it. The police are overrun. You now got to bring in your National Guard. maybe some more of your military. That's right. Go ahead and get our military and our police and officials so distracted. This is a great opportunity for then the enemies of America to do whatever it is they want to do in America or outside America, and to other countries that may be some of our friends. Seems like to me this is setting up for something bigger. We'll get to that later in the program. Joining me again is J.J. Carrell. He's on each and every night here on Worldview 2, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard. J.J., what do you make of what I just said? Half the cops cut in half in about 4.5 years. Wow. So how could the cops stop these things when they don't have the numbers, which brings in the National Guard, maybe more military, which, again, we got to be careful with posse comitatus and military being used against the American people. But I guess none of you use the Insurrection Acts. But get us all distracted, and that makes China free to do what they want with Taiwan, where about 90% of our chips come from for pumping water and our grid and communications and our military and so much. We're not thinking about this, most Americans, from a military strategic standpoint, are they?
No, and you look at, I've come out with a number of 660,000, which is roughly about 700,000, what he's saying, officers. Now, when you strip away the East and West Coast, and you take away at least 250,000 of those officers, the rest of America has 400,000 officers. Then you start doing shift work, days off, court, training. You may have 100,000 officers on duty at any given time during the day for the whole country.
But then what about the ones that aren't even physically capable to be cops? I'm sorry, but have you seen some of these guys?
Yeah, so so everybody's not 6'3", 230 pounds, ready to rock and roll, been fighting and working out and doing all their stuff. No. You have obese people that their gun belts are so big, I don't even know how they order them. Their uniforms don't fit. It's grotesque.
Have you seen some of them in LA running down the sidewalk? I pointed one out the other day to Logan. I said, look at that poor guy. He's gonna die. He's gonna have a heart attack. But it was almost comical watching him run, how big he was. I'm like, that dude shouldn't be out there.
Well, it's just like in the military, you're not even getting replacement. I mean, you can't recruit them. And then you make a great point, and we need to talk about this for a minute. When we have this type of crisis, you throw police in there. There's not enough, so now you bring in National Guard. They don't have the same radios. They don't have the same rules of engagement. They don't have the same command structure. They don't have the same verbal commands. Even if they had the shared radios, they don't share the same 10 codes. This is a disaster waiting to happen. So this idea that I can just backfill with National Guard, well, hold on a second. National Guard doesn't really know how to arrest people. Police officers, we're trained in riot control, but we don't do riot control. We don't work with we're not part of a team that is specialized for riot control. And how do I know this is all falling apart? Well, when you have riot teams, no one's supposed to break your ranks. You have people walking in and out of the lines and ranks of National Guard and police. It's insane what we have become as a law enforcement nation. We don't have enough law enforcement officers. And why would you join the law enforcement department? Look at this. This is grotesque. This is one guy takes on 3 officers and gets away. Yes.
Now, I don't know if you saw my broadcast last night with Trevor Loudon, but if you didn't, it's at worldviewtube.com. And I guess clips of it today are going viral. At one point, one of the clips, Logan said, was getting 500 new views every 2 minutes. 500 new views every 2 minutes. By the way, our podcasts are now in the top 1% of all podcast downloads in America. Okay? So we're growing. Praise the Lord. Thanks for that. Appreciate everybody. So if you haven't seen it, go to worldviewtube.com. Last night, I brought out this grid, JJ. This is from a 2016 manual put out by the military, called Unconventional Warfare. We covered this over 5 years ago. We brought it back last night. And it is the various levels of preparation for revolutionary cadres and of preparation of revolutionary cadres and of masses for revolution. One of them, JJ, is to demoralize the police. To demoralize the police and demoralize the military.
Well, they did that.
here it is. Increased agitation, unrest, and dissatisfaction, infiltration of administration, police and military, national organizations, and slowdowns and strikes. I'm going to try to find the one where it's demoralize them, but it's in here. It's in this list. I'll find it in a minute. But it's to demoralize them. And you see them doing that, do you not?
Well, they've already demoralized the police. The police is called the Ferguson effect. Police will not show up. They will not do their job the way it's supposed to be. Why? Because the people they're servicing hate them. They're trying to kill them. And if not, they're trying to throw them in jail. You can't recruit and find them. Border Patrol agents, we had 21,000 at one time. We're at around 14 and change. We're down almost a third of our workforce. LAPD is down thousands. New York PD is down thousands. We are swimming in a cesspool and a swamp of disaster. I want the American people to understand you have no hope for a police officer to come help you and stop a crime against you. That's fantasy land. That's Hollywood. You're lucky if they can show up and take a report for you. Where does this lead us in America? It leads us to tyranny. It leads us to chaos, and we're living it right now. Like I said, Brannon, let's say 10% of those dots from nokings.org go on fire and they go live and there's riots. Who's going to protect us during those riots? The answer is nobody. Right now in LAPD, where's all of their manpower concentrated? Probably within a couple city blocks. So that means the rest of the city is wide open. Just wide open. So our government, just make sure this I need to drill this home. Our government is funding in the tunes of tens of millions of dollars the NGOs that are funding all of the anarchists that are doing this to our country. Our own government is funding our demise. And Donald Trump has not shut it down yet, and I don't know why. Well, why hasn't he closed all the NGOs?
And Michael Yon is asking, why hasn't he dismantled the United Nations and kicked it out of the U.S. when the UN, of course, is a hotbed for the Islamists and the Marxists? And the UN was the one working with Biden's DHS, we're told, funneling the illegals up here through the Darien Gap, giving them money cards to live. So the United Nations, I want you to confirm, the United Nations was helping to funnel the illegal invaders into the U.S. True or false?
That's true. They used the IOM, of course, and they used the plethora of religious organizations, NGOs, to move 30 million people to the border. And then our government funded DHS, who then funneled the money and laundered it through FEMA to give to all Catholic Charities, Jewish Family Services. So you have two prongs. You have an international organization called the UN, was funded by our federal government, who funded all the top level United Nations, IOM, who gave money to NGOs, and then our FEMA laundered the money and gave all to the religious organization and NGOs to move the women, children into America.
Wow. Yep. I found it. Look at this. It's toward the top. Look at this one, right below the blue line. I'm going to see if I don't know if you can highlight it. No, whole thing highlights. Look at that one right below the negotiations with government representatives. That one right there where the arrow is. Okay. Intense sapping of morale of government, administration, police, and military. Okay. Sap the morale of the police. Well, they've done that. Half of the American police have quit in the last 4.5 years. Now, if you go down toward the bottom, you see more. Creation of atmosphere of wider discontent through propaganda, lies, and political and psychological effort, discrediting government, police, and military authorities. So you see that a lot of this is what's going on right now, right?
Yeah.
And Logan, can you show the picture of the one dude whooping 3 cops? Show that video again. Now, does that give credibility to the cops or take away credibility?
Listen, Brannon, I swear to you, that scenario is what me and my partners dreamed about. Was some guy thinking he can punch us and then we would have destroyed his world. His world would have ended right there. He would have been begging us. But now they think they can hit police. Well, why not? Those 3 people easily could lose a collective 200 pounds. Has anybody worked out? Look at those men. He hits a woman. He hits the guy in the back of the head, and cop is now they can't run.
He's not all that. I mean, he has to.
He's a fat slob.
He has to try to pull his pants up while running.
He's a fat slob. I would take that guy down within at least 3 seconds. It'd be over with, and he'd be crying. The cuffs are too tight. But I'd be like, okay, fat, so lose some weight and the cuffs won't be as tight. Now get in the back of the car and shut up because I don't care about you. But because we have DEI, look at that female. You think that female right there completed any of the metrics to become an LAPD officer? Are you serious? Are you kidding me? And this is what happens, Brandon. The moment you cannot hire people, what do you have to do? It's just like any other business. You got to lower the standards, lower the standards. I
have police officers in my community that have told me of people that they have had to spend hours training, send them through the police academy. Local government pays for it because they need bodies, and they'll pay for them to go to the police academy. They get them out of the police academy, and they bring them into the force, and they've got
remedial training.
Yes, and they got to train them more. Mm-hmm. And they take them to the firing squad, and this gal, is shooting into the dirt. She's not hitting the target. She's hitting into the dirt in front of the target. Now, any of us that have got handgun permits and whatnot have likely gone through the training, and you've got to be able to hit the target. And you got to be able to hit the target so many times out of so many times, right?
Yep.
And this is private civilians. And they got a gal in a uniform, and my friend was on the firing range, and his job was to try to bring her up to help her.
Score up. Yep. Her score up. Yep.
Or guess what was going to happen? They're going to have to let her go. And the city will have lost all the money of putting her through the academy and getting her onto the street. And they had to let her go because they couldn't get her to hit the target. She kept hitting in front of the target, hitting.
Oh, God. Brandon, you're playing these videos.
One of my buddies told me that if you ever want to know the truth, here it is. When it comes to most of your cops, run and zigzag, and you will likely get away because they will not be able to hit you. They are so poor at marksmanship. If you run and zigzag, they won't be able to hit you because they're so poor. This is a fellow police detective talking about the police in his community in the Mid-South.
I'm so disgusted watching these videos, Brandon. I'm so disgusted at looking at cops that don't know how to do their job. They're just fat. They're worthless. And you know why I hate them? Like, I hate them with a passion. Like, I hate them as much as I hate a liberal. You know why I hate them so much? Is because they are so gutless and so pathetic and ineffective that and I've had these discussions with people that I arrested where they fought me. And I said, why would you fight me, dude? Look at me compared to you. Why would you? He goes, because the last guy that arrested me, I punched him and I ran away. And I figured you'd be the same.
Wow.
That's why I'm so angry. That's why men in law enforcement like myself despise these type of cops, because we have to fight 10 times harder because you.
Did we just lose him?
Years. Thousands of arrests. I never had that happen. Never.
So let's talk about that number again. The cops, according to law enforcement today, from Joe Biden's day when he came in to now, we've lost over 700,000. And of that, a lot of them are in the courts. They're school resource officers. They're paper pushers, whatever. And then you add the ones that are actually on the street. And then you add take out the ones that aren't physically fit. So we're left with a very small cadre of officers that could actually defend our communities. And you know what? The timing could not be more perfect for the enemies of America, foreign and domestic.
Well, could it be any better for a foreign enemy to come into America? What's going on with our military? Our military has been at war. Then you talk to Colonel McGregor, and he tells you that all of our munitions are down, our tanks are down, everything has been lost. We have morale issues. Look, this is the best time to attack America right now.
You know, if I was a single guy, I could just say, well, it's too bad, but I'm not single. I have a wife, I have children, I have a son-in-law, I have a grandchild, and then I have thousands, millions of people in my audience. Some of them have been listening to me for 20, 30 years. I know them well. I know their names when I see them, and I think about them often. You know, a lot of us are very emotionally invested in this country and in the people. So when you see this, it frightens me. We'll be right back. July 6, 2005. This is Tom Harper. Man figures plankton stopped his rare cancer. We got more of a response from this from our viewers than anything else you and I have ever discussed.
Tom Harper, 20 years ago, he had mesothelioma, deadly lung cancer, was given weeks to live, and he just intuitively started to eat the phytoplankton out of his fish tanks because he fed the phytoplankton to his shellfish. He was a shellfish farmer. And when he went in for the surgery, the surgeon came out of the operating room and told his family, I have not ever seen anything like it. The cancer is benign, and Tom Harper lived for years. He retired in Hawaii. We're not making any claim.
Here he is in his own words.
Started on a daily routine of just taking a bit of paste, putting it in my mouth, and wash it down with a drink of water. Within about 10 to 15 days, here I am, less pain in my back. I knew that something was going on, so I just kept eating half a teaspoon of this paste a day. I was booked to go for surgery in Victoria where they were going to do what they call a talc treatment. They went in there to have a look, saw something they never seen before, took 11 sites, sent them away for biopsy. I got the news back. Everything was benign. They just did not know what to make of it. Everything was absolutely clean. And I've tried dieting all my life because I'm a diabetic. If it's a coincidence or not, I don't know. My blood sugar started dropping. My weight started falling off. Here I am, no longer requiring insulin, and I was taking 88 units a day of insulin. I eat just about what I want in moderation, and I have no elevated sugar levels, and I feel fabulous.
People, you hear the word cancer, and they want you to be instilled with fear. Cancer is nothing but a profound failure of the immune system. And what happened with Tom Harper is the phytoplankton is microscopic. It's God's microscopic food. And the Gadatiana is the most nutritionally comprehensive strain phytoplankton in the world. David Hunter studied phytoplankton for 20 years because he worked for Tom Harper and he was there in person and witnessed Tom's recovery. It's about getting pure nutrition inside your cells. And what happens, your body balances again or goes back to homeostasis. And when your body is pH balanced or in homeostasis, disease can't grow. It is literally microscopic, pure single cell plant food with protein and omega-3 fatty acids, omega-6 fatty acids, with amino acids and vitamins and minerals. One scoop a day. There's 90 billion plant cells in here just for everyday nutrition and energy and, cognitive support, because this is God's pure nutrition.
Go to melissahousegpa.com today. Discover the science and learn more about the wonderful benefits of Gaditana phytoplankton. That's melissahousegpa.com. melissahousegpa.com.
All right. I know you've got something out scheduled here, so we're going to have to let you go. But President Trump apparently has told the folks at Fort Bragg the Department of Justice is investigating who's financing the riots in Los Angeles. I'm going to play some video clips. Some members of Congress are saying that Maxine Waters and others, that those were all peaceful protests in L.A. So, we're like I said before the break, and then I'll let you go. You and I have family, and we care about our audience and our family and our friends and our country. And I'm very concerned for my country right now. Closing comment.
I'm very concerned too. And I think because Donald Trump is being attacked on all fronts, that we need to support him. And how do we support him? By just being out there and talking to each other and supporting him in law enforcement. Listen, your little town, your little city, you think is exempt. You think you're okay in Birmingham, Alabama? You think you're okay in Reno, Nevada, or Rapid City, South Dakota? Get ready. Get ready. Look at that map. They're already funding. You have Walton, Christy Walton of Walmart. She is funding this. We're talking billions and billions and billions of dollars, plus tens of millions from our own government trying to kill us. We are at war for the soul of the United States of America. Brandon, I believe that. I say that on my show, Truth with J.G. Carrell, on your platform every single night. We are in a war for the soul of America. I believe that. And what does that look like from our end? It means that we have to fight. If you want something you love, you have to fight for it. It's just the way it is. It's the world we live in. And we need to be prepared.
And a lot of this is information warfare, which means we have to show Americans, what it's all about, who's behind it, who's doing it, how they're doing it. Because again, a lot of Americans just don't get it. They don't understand this huge existential threat facing the country. This is treason.com. This is treason.com. That's his website. Each and every night he's on 5 p.m. Central. Oh, is it jjcarrell.com?
Yeah, it can either go to JJ Carrell, but you get the movie This Is Treason, but jjcarrell.com is my new website that covers everything, has all my episodes of worldviewtube.com. So
JJ Carrell, make sure you spell the last name Carrell, 2 R's and 2 L's. 5 p.m. Central, 6 Eastern every night, worldviewtube.com. JJ, I know you got a bolt. Thank you for being here.
No, thanks always, Brandon. Take care.
You too, my friend. Folks, again, trying to bring you news and analysis and understanding, reason, logic, and context, right? You appreciate what we're doing? We need your support. Would you please go right now to worldviewtube.com/sponsors. worldviewtube.com/sponsors. All right? We got a lot more to do tonight. We're going to get right to it. But folks, there are ways you can support us and your health at the same time. You heard about one while ago. Gatatana, MelissaHouseGPA.com. I drink it every day. I give half a scoop to Dolly every day. 5 clinical trials behind it. You just saw that. Another way, of course, is Bella Grace, the elixir I take each and every day, loaded with 3 powerful ingredients, 80 clinical trials behind that. Collagen with the peptides cut short so your body actually absorbs it. It's got astaxanthin that crosses the brain-blood barrier to take on the free radicals. And cat's claw that takes on inflammation. Swish for Life, that's Numi. That's loaded with glutathione. Glutathione is a naturally occurring molecule that helps detox your cells. Toxins everywhere, as we know. Food, air, soil, everywhere. You want to detox your cells. Some studies show glutathione may actually remove mercury from your brain, helping prevent Alzheimer's and dementia. Now, I also would urge you to go to worldviewtalk.com. worldviewtalk.com. With all that's going on in the world, you might want to get yourself a solar generator. Should these knuckleheads, the anarchists, the communists, the Islamists go after the power grid, or the cyber attacking, as the general of Edwards Air Force Base is saying? We've got the clip. We've played it. May 7th, he said, of this year. China decides to go against Taiwan. One of the first things they're going to do is put down the power grid. They're already in our grid. Then you got these anarchists and other people that could start hitting power substations. You're going to want to get ready. You're going to be on your own. It's going to be you, your neighbors, and your friends. That's it. No one is going to come help you. They will not be able to come help you. The police are going to be overrun. They're not going to be able to handle it in most situations. Be prepared. WorldviewTalk.com is where you get the solar generators. And then you can even get a bulletproof backpack. You can get the satellite phones. So should the cell towers go down, I have a satellite phone. Should the cell towers go down, I can at least call some of my family members. I have some family members that have satellite phones, right? We have each other's numbers. Cell towers go down, I'm at least going to be able to check in on some of my family members. How about you? Worldview, by the way, the satellite phones are free if you sign up for one of their very reasonable monthly plans. You can also get the bivvies. These bivvies, you can then text through your cell phone. Even though cell towers are down, you can still use your cell phone to compose the text. You just then send it through this bivvy, which sends it to a satellite. So at least you can text your kids that got your grandbabies or your spouse who's traveling. WorldviewTalk.com, WorldviewTalk.com.